Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie and let's join in, shall we? I read a lot of books and today's book is Give Me Your Hand by Megan Abbott. So that is the front cover. This was a weird one, I'll admit. Interesting premise. I'd say at times I felt the dialogue was just a bit not normal. That feels like a really weird thing to say. But there were times when it just didn't seem very natural. I'll say that. So it's 352 pages in crime and thriller, literary fiction and psychological fiction. Let's get on with that good old blurb. You told each other everything, then she told you too much. Kit has risen to the top of her profession and is on the brink of achieving everything she wanted. She hasn't let anything stop her. But now someone else is standing in her way. Diane. Best friends at 17, their shared ambition made them inseparable, until the day Diane told Kit her secret. The worst thing she'd ever done, the worst thing Kit could imagine, and it blew their friendship apart. Kit is still the only person who knows what Diane did. And now Diane knows something about Kit that could destroy everything she's worked so hard for. How far would Kit go to make the hard work, the sacrifice, worth it in the end? What wouldn't she give up? Diane thinks Kit is just like her. Maybe she's right. Ambition. It's in the blood. Yeah. Thriller. And between the words of the title it says, a broken friendship, a buried secret, a dangerous obsession. But where to start? Where to start? Where to start? I really enjoyed the premise of this book. The premise of it is really interesting, and it's all done from Kit's point of view, and you go between kind of then and now. So you see the flashbacks of them at school together, seeing how their friendship develops, and then what led to the breakdown of that friendship, which involves Diane sharing one of her secrets, which to Kit is just a step too far, and she's just like, I cannot believe that you told me this. I can't believe that you think I should keep this secret for you, and it's a very heavy burden to bear. I mean, it's in the first line of the blurb. You told each other everything, then she told you too much. It's just that this secret that Diane shares with Kit, it's just completely too much for her to handle. She doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know if she should tell somebody, which becomes a big part of the storyline later. It's kind of fascinating. There were times when the dialogue felt really unnatural. I found myself rereading the dialogue quite a lot, just because I think sometimes it might be a sign of closeness when people are able to finish each other's sentences and know what somebody's talking about without them having to say too much. To go to think about it like that, it does explain some of the dialogue between Kit and Diane, but it doesn't explain the dialogue between Kit and her co-workers, because it's explicitly stated that Kit and her co-workers, they don't really know each other that well. They don't tend not to share much personal stuff, and through events that happen in the book, Kit realises even more so that she does not know her colleagues as well as she thought she did, and vice versa. They don't know Kit as well as they thought they did. You learned that in the past, Kit and Diane were at school together. Diane was kind of like this tall, blonde mystery woman, and Kit really looked up to Diane, thinking her like this perfect teenager who she looked up to, who was incredibly smart, shared quite similar interests to Kit as well, so she was just like, oh, this girl is brilliant, and we almost share the same brain with things that we're interested in, and these girls are very science nerds. There's a scientist called Dr. Severin who they both really look up to, and Dr. Severin has started research into premenstrual dysphoric disorder, a health problem that's similar to premenstrual syndrome, PMS, but it's more serious. PMDD, it causes severe irritability, depression and anxiety in the week or two before your period starts. Symptoms usually go away 2 to 3 days after your period starts. The research in the book is looking at how PMDD is associated with women who snap and can kill their husbands and have fits of rage, and then they realise that they're due their period. It's all very interesting. As somebody who does have periods myself, well, I say have periods, I had periods because I'm on the pill. Now I must admit, my second COVID vaccine has messed up my cycle and I've been on my period for 3 weeks despite being on the mini pill, and I'm really pissed off. As you can imagine, for somebody who hasn't had a period in like 3 years. But yeah, I think because, especially reading it when I'm getting my period after my vaccine, it made that side of the storyline really, really interesting to me, because it's just like, oh, as somebody who is currently on my period, it's interesting to see that kind of research happening, and the fact that it is a real thing and that people are doing actual research into it, and yeah, it's very, very interesting. There's a question on Google that says, is PMDD considered a mental illness? And on here it says PMDD is commonly defined as an endocrine disorder. It's a hormone-related disorder, which is very, very active theme throughout the book, especially because of the research that Dr. Severin is doing. As a teenager, Diane tries to get involved in the study as a patient, but she's told that her symptoms don't seem to be related to her period. Yeah, it's just very, very interesting storyline and where it goes, but it all comes back to the relationship between Diane and Kit and how their friendship was destroyed, how they meet again as adults at Dr. Severin's lab, because as adults they both find themselves working under Dr. Severin doing the research, because in high school they were both competing for a place working under Dr. Severin, and through things you see throughout the book, you see how that competitiveness kind of started, because at first it was like, oh, we're in this together, we can both be involved, and then as you go through you realise that Kit, especially after The Secret comes out, you realise that Kit started to see Diane more as a competition than as an ally. It feels really interesting to talk about it. I finished it yesterday. I read this over the space of about maybe 2.5, 3 weeks. Yeah, it's just very interesting. It's got that thing about ambition, female friendships, and how that friendship goes into competition between the two of them, and with the fact that Kit has been keeping this secret for Diane this whole time, and then you realise, hang on a second, did she tell somebody? Did she tell somebody? And that's kind of led to what's happening here. She tells somebody that she knows at work, and there's a very, very unfortunate accident. It's kind of a question mark over whether it was an accident or whether Kit had a chance to intervene and stop it from happening. Basically, the co-worker that she tells about Diane on a very, very drunken night, he tries to kind of get involved. He's just like, hang on a second, you told me that she has a secret, that she's dangerous, that she's killed somebody, and the secret is that Diane admits to Kit that as a teenager she killed her father. I don't really think that's much of a spoiler really, because it's within the first 100 pages. But yeah, throughout it you realise that Diane is just a bit unstable. And when you do look at the flashbacks and you look at kind of Diane's childhood and how she came to where she ended up, you realise that her childhood was very unstable. She had an interesting relationship with her mother, she had an interesting relationship with her father, and then a very, very weird relationship with her grandfather. But when her mother meets a new man and says, okay, I'm going to send you to live with your father, I want to get to know my new boyfriend, and then when the time is ready you can move back, which never happens, and she ends up living with her father the whole time. But her father is quite neglectful and doesn't really pay attention to Diane, and there comes a point when you see that her father once actually folded up the bed that Diane was sleeping on in the living room, forgetting that she was there. And that moment, it was just like, bloody hell. The more you hear about Diane, the more you just think, even though she was rejected from the PMDD study, you start to question if maybe something there is related to her menstrual cycle, and then is that also connected to her anger and her rage that's aimed at her family. When you first read about her relationship with her father and what happens there, there was a point I just thought, does her dad deserve this? The way that she treats him, because when she first goes to live with her dad, she actually doesn't go to her dad's house. She finds a way just to stay at school, and she sleeps over at school for a few days, and then she tells the janitor who catches her sleeping there what's happening at home, and he rats her out, he calls parents, and then she's taken home. And when I read that bit, it was just like, does her dad deserve that? Because we hadn't really learnt much about her dad at that point. And then as you go through, you go, it's like, oh, okay, so he's not the best dad. And you realise that her mother doesn't deserve her dad doesn't deserve her, and then from that you then see the relationship with her grandfather, which is definitely, she definitely has a closer relationship with her grandfather than she ever did with her parents. But obviously before the new man came on the scene, she was a little bit closer to her mother. There was a very big twist at the end that I did not see coming, which relates to Kit's storyline, because when they're all sharing their secrets, Kit mentions a relationship she had with a married man. When you read through, you realise it's just one of Kit's secrets, and then you've got Diane's secret. But then the secret came back at the end and completely twisted everything, and it was just like, this goes further back than we thought it did, and it put Diane in a new light, because you realise that everything that she is doing, she's trying to protect herself, but she's also trying to protect Kit. Kit tells one of her co-workers on a very, very drunken night out about Diane and Diane's secret. So when they then see each other at work again, and the co-workers there going, do I need to speak to Dr. Severin about this? You know, you told me she was dangerous and not a good person. And Kit is there going, oh, it was a drunken night, what did I say? You know, she's trying to kind of pull back on what she said to him. And then while they're in the lab, because he's working on something in the lab, and she realises that one of the test tubes that he's using has a slight crack in it, and she keeps repeatedly going, stop, stop, but her co-worker is so wrapped up in this other conversation, he doesn't realise what Kit is saying to him. It's like, no, stop what you are doing, because I think something bad's about to happen. And yeah, the test tube is broken, then there's an explosion, and he dies when some glass gets lodged in his neck. Diane heard the argument, but didn't know what was happening in the lab. So when Diane goes to the lab and realises that Alex, the co-worker, is bleeding out, and the fact that she heard the argument happening, she thinks that Kit actually killed him, like intended on killing him, like she murdered him. And while Kit is there going, we need to call 911, you know, this was just an accident, and Diane goes into protector mode, going, no, we're not going to call 911, I'm going to fix this for you. Diane goes into, I'm going to fix this for you, rather than doing the actual right thing, which would have been to call for an ambulance and the police and all that sort of stuff, because Kit knows it to be a genuine accident. Diane goes into, no, we need to cover this up, because this is now your secret that I am going to bear for you. And then when you go through and you see all the other co-workers coming in, and you find out that the guy who died had an entire life that nobody knew about, especially when his fiancée turns up and everybody's just there going, wait, he was engaged? Where did this woman come from? As you can tell, lots and lots of stuff happens in this book, and again, I haven't scratched the surface of half the stuff that happens in this book. But yeah, it's a very, very interesting premise. I think the only thing I didn't like about it was the way some of the dialogue just seemed really, really unnatural. But thinking about it, I think it shows you the closeness between Diane and Kit through their dialogue, but it doesn't explain the rest of it. There were certain points when it almost felt like I was reading a book that had been translated, because this happened to me when I read the book Lullaby, a book that was originally written in French and then was translated to English. It was a very, very popular book, but I could tell as I was reading that it had been translated, because some of the translation just seemed a little bit clunky at times. It was just a very, very interesting writing style. I definitely want to read other books by Megan Abbott and see how her writing style is throughout her other books, whether this is just kind of a staple of how she writes, or if it was just something that she did for this book, for the storytelling. I think anybody who has ever had a period will find the science side of the storyline really, really interesting. And yeah, just seeing that relationship between Diane and Kit and the secrets that they hold and bear for each other, and how those secrets tear apart their friendship. It's really, really fascinating. Why is it whenever I do this I feel like I say so much but also say so little? Yes, that's Give Me Your Hand by Megan Abbott. That is the cover of the book, can you see that? Yeah, I definitely say it definitely fits into crime and thriller and psychological. It's got some good twists in it, especially that one twist at the end where it's just like, hang on a second, this just blew this whole thing wide open. But yeah, there were a couple of little bits in there where it's just like, yeah, I did not see that coming. So it's a very, very good on the twist front if you're looking for something that kind of completely comes out of left field. So you find yourself kind of constantly guessing. There was a point when I thought I figured out the ending, but I was so off. I was so way off. And then when that final twist came out and I was just like, hang on a second. Wait, are they doing what I think they're doing? And then like 2 sentences later, it just like, the character clicked it and it was just like, I was 2 sentences ahead of this character figuring out this twist. 2 sentences. But yeah, as I said, I enjoyed this one, very interesting premise. It was just slight little niggles about the dialogue that kind of got me. Because this is the only book I've ever read by Megan Abbott, this could just be her style of writing, and it's just something that I might actually kind of get used to if I read other books by her. So the next book that I've started is The Wife Between Us by Sarah Pekkanen and Greer Hendricks. This is going to be like the 3rd or 4th book I've read by them. I absolutely love this pairing. I think they are so good at writing together, because I've read Anonymous Girl by them, You Are Not Alone. Yeah, I think this is the 3rd one. Yeah, because Anonymous Girl is the one with the therapist, and You Are Not Alone is the one with the woman who slept in front of the train. Yes, this is the 3rd one. I'm only like a couple of chapters in, but I'm already obsessed. Already obsessed. So yeah, that'll be the next one on Borrow Box. I did start reading Sing You Home. Basically, me and my mum went and got our hair done together. Oh, there were no magazines, because my mum wears glasses and contacts, looking at the magazines on her phone, because they now have a QR code so you can look at magazines on your phone. It was just too difficult for my mum to sort out, so I gave her the book that was in my bag, which was Sing You Home, and so she started reading it. So I only read a chapter of that before my mum took it. Which has given me a chance to kind of finish off some other things. The next book on my bookshelf is by Val Wood. Yeah, the next one is The Doorstep Girls. Doorstep? I've already gone out of my head. The Doorstep. I don't know why I'm finding it so difficult to say that. The Doorstep Girls by Val Wood. It looks like a bit of an older book, but it's hard to tell. But yeah, that's the next one on the bookshelf to go. And then I'll be starting the 3rd book in the Discovery of Witches trilogy very, very soon. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. Hello to the newbies, it's nice to see you. And if there are any books that you recommend for me, please let me know, because I am constantly looking for new books. It's not very often that I find a book I don't like, but it's very rare that I find a book that I hate. But yeah, if you've got any recommendations, just let me know. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I love you. Stay safe.